Hello and welcome all to Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern. I will be your guide and navigator, Mr.E, taking you on this informative journey. Informative of what? We still don't know. But that's why I have had the good fortune to bring along with me the colorful commentary of our internet guru, my good friend Toast.
Butter is optional.
There you go. And to the other side, we have Private Snafu.
Good day, Mr.E. Good day, Toast.
Alright, now we're going to go down a traveling line of science fiction or science fiction and all that kind of good stuff.
Of us. And, like I said, Cleavon Little just going, well, I'm out. Because
life lesson learned. Bye.
Where it was played for comedy,
right?
And it was, you could tell it wasn't serious. It wasn't anyone honestly believing it,
right?
And one of the other stories I like along those lines, and again, I don't know how true it is because I've never been to any of these things, but supposedly while they were filming, was it Django Unchained? Mm-hmm. Leonardo DiCaprio had an issue with all the racial slurs.
I think I heard something about
from
this.
what I heard, he was having troubles with all the racial slurs, and he actually brought it up until Samuel L. Jackson looked at him and basically told him, it's one of those ones that, crap, do I actually go and swear in there or not? But basically just looked at him and just went, this is just a Tuesday for us. Just shut up.
Yeah, we're making a movie. We already know the context of the movie.
Right. I mean, he felt so bad, for all the racist things he had to say as a character, that, he's like, I don't know if I can. Well, it says the actual African Americans and black people he's working with basically went, just shut up and do it. It didn't matter to them.
We know what we're doing here.
Well, and not only that, but it's that moment of, we know that you don't believe it.
Right.
And that part of the dividing line,
right,
where it's the, do you firmly believe something, or are you only doing it, honestly, because you can, or are you only doing it for attention? When it comes to even, to turn down people for bacon. Do they honestly believe? What if that guy had come in and said, I need a cake for my wedding? Oh, who's it for? Just put down congratulations to the two of you and have no mention of names on there. Now, if he would have made that cake and he, as he was walking out, he'd went, this is for me and my husband, would the guy have been like, hey, give me that cake back, I'll give you your money back? Or would he have then just basically knocked it out of his hands and get out and kept his money? I don't know, because I know these people.
Well, that's theft.
Yeah. Well,
at that point,
that is theft. If he takes, if he destroys,
if he destroyed the cake and didn't give the dude his money back, that's theft.
That's theft. Yeah.
But I agree that maybe, and that was the point I was trying to make when we were discussing this before we were recording, is that I think that maybe some people do try to go too far into the face of this stuff, where it's a giant neon sign of this is who we are, this is what we're doing, almost challenging people to stop. And while I understand the mentality, at the same time, it's the wrong way to go about it. I think if you want to be treated equally, then you want to be a little more reserved with your lifestyle. And to say, yes, I date men. That's what I do. I'm marrying a man. That's what I'm doing.
And now we have you on tape.
But leave it at that. Don't make it a Vegas production.
He means that metaphorically, not literally.
Right.
He's not actually...
I'm sure people will understand the context.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the one editing.
One of the ones that I've brought up to people is when you get down to, the New York Gay Pride Parade. Honestly, most of the entries, I don't really pay attention to it because whatever. But from pictures and stuff that I've seen, it's that moment of, whatever. Why are there so many guys in leather thongs? Whatever. If you get that group of people together, where it's honestly that moment of, you're not dressed appropriately to be on the street, and not just because,
right.
It's the middle of New York.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. There are certain things that I can absolutely get behind just because not only are they weird enough to be cool,
and again, watch your phrasing,
but also because of the fact that, it's the right way of flamboyancy. Like, you ever heard about the drag race?
Besides RuPaul's?
You elaborate, and then I'll go.
RuPaul, I can't remember his last name, but RuPaul did an entire TV show, a couple of seasons of it, called RuPaul's Drag Race.
Okay.
Where they had drag queens in.
Right.
To basically do these, makeup and fashion things. I never really watched it, but I saw clips of it. And a lot of it was about the fact that you can get some of these people. You watch the guy come in, you go, okay, that's some guy. They're 2 hours later, and you go, wow.
Not sure.
Well, you just go, wow, I would definitely hit on her. And the same person.
Right. And no, that's not where I was going. The one I was going for is homosexual men in drag pulling rickshaws. They covered it on Jackass, of all things.
I don't think it's just gays doing it.
No, but I'm saying this was an event organized, I think it was in Florida at the time. I don't know for sure. But that's one where I look at it and go, that's just hilarious enough to be cool. I want to be there.
Well, see that?
Yeah, I mean...
That's someone sponsoring an event and saying we're doing this in a funny manner, but it also supports the community in that moment of we're doing something ridiculous over here because we think it's funny. If you come and you laugh, you're laughing with us, not at us.
Right. My grandfather once upon a time said it best when he said, "It is a fragile man indeed who does not have a sense of humor about himself." Now, in that specific context, he was referring to anybody. Any person. They are a fragile person indeed if they can't have a sense of humor about themselves. These people clearly do.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm driving at there, is I like that.
One of the people I know at one point in time, one of the other people I know had looked at him and gone, "Hey, can you throw me that marker?" Guy throws it to him. It doesn't quite make it. He looks at me and goes, "You throw like a girl." And the other guy just goes, "Hey!" I'm also hamming that up a little bit, but again, it's that moment of it was kind of in context because he didn't think about it before he said you throw like a girl. Right? Because it's the same two people. The second guy was trying to hang up a poster. Got it up on the wall. He's trying to hang it. He's trying to level it. It's almost set. And he goes, he's like, "Hey, does this look straight? Does this look level?" And the first guy just looks at me and goes, "You were going to say, does this look straight?" He's like, "Nah, I know it's never gonna." It's jokes like that it's the moment of, yeah, that's funny. And now we move on.
Yeah. And that's just it, is you get these people who they just can't move on. And it worries me. I mean, we come from a state where our motto is one freaking word, forward. And yet so many people can't do it.
I'm thinking, technically isn't it Excelsior, which is Latin for forward? I can't help when I think of Excelsior besides hearing Stanley. Excelsior!
Actually, it's Satine. What? I don't know.
No, go back! What?
Yeah, the movie Wreck-It Ralph, I believe. He's like, "Oh, hey, Satan," and then he's like, "Oh, actually, it's Satine."
Okay.
Futurama. Dad, I don't want to wear that lame cape. It's pronounced LeMay.
Champagne.
Champagne. Yeah.
But now, getting back after that.
And now we've wordplayed our way right off the street.
Yeah. I always got told to avoid playing in traffic.
Funny, I was told to play in traffic.
You know, I was just told I got dropped on my head too many times, but...
Well, that would explain the shape of your head. Why do you keep shaving it?
That went in a weird direction.
Yeah, that could be taken two ways.
Oh, wait, that's right, because it's part of the uniform, right?
Oh, yes, AR 670-1.
Yeah.
Look who remembers things. Unless you were dropped on your head on the book.
Okay, so anything else that anyone else wants to bring up? Well, you mentioned gays in the military. Have you had anyone come out to you specifically?
Not to me specifically, but I know of a few people who are gay in the unit. I don't look at them any differently. I just look at, if we're in a combat...
Looking at them differently.
So there I did just flip him off. So, you know, I think of it as...
He earned it.
Yes, he did. If we were in a combat situation, and say I get shot, can they move me into cover if I get shot and I'm literally bleeding out and I can't get back up? Can they move me far enough to get to cover and get to help? Like, you could stare at my ass as I'm, crawling through the mud, but as long as you're crawling there with me, behind me or whatever, and you're moving up to the enemy.
I'm just thinking that moment of, man, these enemy lines. Hey, Bob, nice ass. Oh, God. You're not really going to hear that sort of thing.
No. I mean, you'd be surprised in the army if you're...
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't.
Yeah. I was going to say, no, we wouldn't be surprised, neither would I.
Just because some of the people I've met, when it comes to the thing that they'll say, it's that moment of, wow, I am not surprised by anything they have said. Not that any of it's particularly terrible, but it's just that moment of, wow, I am definitely not surprised.
Yeah. Mr. Toast is a hard man to rattle.
Yeah, but...
Tell that to the guy who hit me with a Dodge.
Recently?
That's why I lost my last truck.
Here, I thought it was the cream of turkeys.
He should have hit you with the ram because he
It was
didn't...
Dodge Ram.
Oh, yeah, so he didn't do much dodging, but he did ram into you.
Yeah, at least it was more of a head-on collision than a rear end.
Actually, it's the side.
Insert giggity here.
Oh, you got T-boned.
Hey, whatever you're into.
Insert another giggity.
I don't look at them any differently. As long as they can do their job, I'm okay with them being gay. They can like whatever they like. Just don't be weird about it to me because I might get a little bit weirded out by that. But that's just me.
Well, I mean, there are people out there who do have good functioning gaydar, and there are people who don't. I bet it would surprise you to learn that I actually know a guy who, first off, he's 6'3". He's 3 foot across, and he's a quarry worker by day. By night, he's a cross-dresser who likes to date bi-curious straight men so he can bang them and dump them.
Huh. See, that's the point where it kind of weirded me out. Like, you know, I mean,
But he does have very good functioning gaydar. He said that I would show up on his gaydar as a lesbian before I would ever show up as someone he could date.
okay then. But no, like, something like that would weird me out. But if you could do your job, I don't give two shits. Like, that's how most people in the military are. You don't see very many people that are anti-homosexual in the military nowadays. What?
But I'm sure it wouldn't surprise you to learn that for a while there, particularly in the early 90s, it was a huge deal. It was it was we can't have gays in the military, openly gay people. Why not?
Yeah.
Even Dennis Leary, one of the most gung-ho, let's go kill them all type of guys, said, I don't care. If you can pick up a gun and shoot at people who want to shoot at our country, I don't care. If you're in a sheep, here's a sheep and a gun. Go!
Eddie Izzard, when he talks about his own experiences.
Right.
He's like,
Gizzard.
Yeah, Izzard.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah, but he was talking about, what's the difference between being a cross-dresser and being in the military? You wear fabulous clothes, you run a joke, climb trees, put makeup on while you're in there.
Fabulous clothes, I'd say more or less. I mean, if you've actually worn the uniform, you'll notice that the stitching right behind the elbow pad, when you lay down to shoot in the prone position, it digs into your elbows, and after doing that for extended hours upon hours, it starts to make you bleed. And that is not comfortable. And that's the end of my story.
I'm leaving out the jokes alone.
Yeah, there was definitely material there that could have been picked up, but I ain't touching it.
See? Material we picked up.
Yeah. Don't play with his sleeve. He might take it the wrong way.
Boy.
It just reminded me of a terrible joke I heard at work years ago, which was, where does the general keep his armies?
Where?
In his sleeveys.
Okay, I actually found that one pretty good. I liked that one.
Oh my god! Oh, that hurts.
That was actually pretty good. I'll give that one.
I told you it was
Mr. Toast.
Like I said, I told you, it's a terrible joke. Did you ever see that cartoon?
I actually...
No, I only saw the information that we looked up together.
Actually...
That will never see the light of day thanks to creative differences.
Since you guys brought that up, I actually did watch a few of them, and they're not all that bad. They're actually kind of interesting to watch.
Well, they were voiced by Mel Blanc, yeah?
Yeah.
I say some of the old propaganda, some of the racist cartoons are interesting when you look at them in historical context. Because one of the ones, the Popeye short, I guess, You're a Sap, Mr. Jap.
Yeah.
I'd seen it online like years ago, but I actually saw it playing on a loop in a World War II museum on Memorial Day.
Okay.
Because they were basically saying during the war, these are the sort of things that people put out, basically let people know, yes, these are our enemies, and it was always very overblown caricatures of the people.
Oh, yeah.
Because that way you didn't have to feel bad about killing them and taking all their stuff. Because, well, they're just a character, no one cares.
Right.
You know, one thing that I find interesting, though, in those old cartoons, is they always show the Japanese with, the squinty eyes, the big teeth, very out of symmetry, but they never had boots. That's the thing. Like, they didn't wear shoes or socks. They never had boots. They were always barefoot. I found that interesting.
I think that actually harkens back to a different racial stereotype that is prior. They were basically trying to portray them almost in...
I see, like the coolie immigrants.
I was thinking more along the lines of savages.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I mean, yeah, you do look at the propaganda, and they basically call the Japanese savages.
Right. So I think that was the idea behind it. And I'm not saying that it was a correct idea.
No.
By no means. In fact, I don't know how much you know your history, but did you know that America had internment camps for Japanese citizens?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know there was one within like 60 miles of here?
Really?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But the other side of that coin is that there are people who left those camps to join the army and fight their own ancestral neighbors.
Fair, yeah.
In fact, one was very famously covered as having an airplane named after him because the airplane was named the Sad Saki because this guy couldn't get respect even while he was in uniform. He was in uniform saying, no, I am American, I am fighting on the side of America. Mm-hmm. And people still treated him like dirt simply because of racial profiling. And it's an unfortunate thing. And that's what worries me whenever we have subject matters like this as a discussion, is that I feel we're always precariously balancing toward hobbling backwards rather than moving forwards as a society.
Yeah, I think that right now we're focused a little bit too much on the fact that we are hurting other people's feelings. Like, if you look back in the 50s and all that, we didn't care if we hurt people's feelings. Like,
You think we're too concerned with playing nice?
in a way, yeah. Like, if you look at ISIS and all that, our soldiers are really on a tight leash. Like, you can't shoot at them. Like, even if an enemy combatant points a weapon at you, you can't fire until you're fired upon. So you can't point your weapon back or anything up until, you know.
But, like a lot of things, you also have to remember what happened between the 1950s and current that might make that a problem.
Vietnam.
Exactly. When you would have soldiers who would walk through a village and just shoot somebody and say, oh, they're an enemy combatant.
Yeah.
And they were doing it because they just didn't like me. Or because
they, honest to God, thought they were going to be shot at before they even got 3 steps in. Because of the fact that they had heard horror stories from other survivors of other places. So they automatically assumed that everybody in the country hated them, of which they weren't well liked.
which sounds familiar.
And that they were under the assumption that they were going to be fired upon by everybody.
Which sounds familiar, because the enemy didn't always wear a uniform, which sounds familiar.
Right.
So it's things are different now than they were in the 1950s, because things have changed.
Yes.
Everything changes. Just like if you go back a little farther, you gotta remember the American Revolutionary War. Do you know how many British soldiers complained?
Oh yeah, we were using guerrilla tactics against the British to gain our independence.
And now that someone else is doing the same to us, you have people going, well, that's just not fair. We should be able to whatever, because it's what we need to guarantee our safety. It's like, yeah, but from the other side of it, I want to say there are other factors, but if you only look at the one side of it, sure, it's really easy to justify whatever you want to do when you realize that there are real people on the other side of everything. I mean, yeah, you may not be allowed to shoot someone until they have shot first, and that is dangerous. But how many times has it been, you come around a corner, and there's a guy there with a rifle, raised, and you pause, because you have to wait for him to fire, he looks at you and goes, oh yeah, you want to go that way, because he's actually a friendly, but you can't tell the difference because he's not wearing a uniform and you don't recognize him.
Hell, the only thing they recognize about you guys is the flag. Alright, well, on that note of fact, validation, and verification, any other shuns we should add to that? Parting words, Snafu?
I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Okay, and toast?
I can't believe it's not butter.
Alright then. Once again, this has been your navigator and guide, Mr. E. Thank you for joining Tales from the Time Traveler's Tavern. So that's it.
You've got